Most men touch a woman the way someone asks for permission, and that's exactly why nothing ever happens. When you reach for her hand as if you're apologizing, when you place your arm around her shoulder like you're checking whether it's allowed, when your fingers touch her back with hesitation, she notices it. Not just the touch itself, but the uncertainty behind it. And in that moment, something inside her quietly shuts down. The part of her that was beginning to feel something simply pauses. Here's what most people never tell you. A mature woman doesn't fall in love because of what you say. She doesn't fall for your looks or even what you do for work. She falls for the way you make her feel in her own body when you're close to her. And that feeling usually begins with touch, though not the kind most men assume. Today I'm going to walk you through 7 very specific kinds of touch that slip past her logic, soften her defenses, and create a kind of emotional gravity she finds difficult to walk away from. These aren't tricks or rehearsed moves. They're part of the language her nervous system understands when words stop being enough. And once you learn this language, you stop chasing attraction and begin creating it. Before we go any further, let's make something clear. This isn't about being aggressive. It's not about forcing a move or ignoring boundaries. In fact, that approach is the exact opposite of what works with a woman who is emotionally mature, experienced, and self-aware. What I'm sharing here comes from attachment psychology, neuroscience, and years of observing what genuinely creates lasting desire between two people. Not what sounds good in theory or what works in movies, but what actually works in real life with real women who know the difference between a boy trying to impress them and a man who truly understands them. Most advice about touch focuses on when to do it or where to do it. Almost nobody talks about the energy behind it, the intention, the presence, and that's where everything changes. A mature woman has already experienced men touching her because they wanted something. Men who touched her to prove a point. Men who touched her out of nervousness, entitlement, or performance. She's finished with that. What she hasn't experienced enough of, and what she's often been waiting for, is a man who touches her like he's already comfortable with himself. A man who isn't trying to get somewhere. A man whose touch feels like an offering instead of a request. That's what these 7 touches are about. And by the end of this, you'll understand not only how to touch her, but why each one works on a level she may not be able to explain, yet rarely resists. Stick with me, because the 5th one I'll share is the touch most men never attempt. And it's the one that stays in her mind when she's alone. First, let's talk about why many men fail before they even begin. You meet a woman. There's chemistry. You talk and laugh. Maybe you're out for coffee or drinks. The conversation flows and she seems engaged. But then, nothing happens. You either never touch her, or when you do, it's extremely timid. Maybe a quick tap on her arm or a brief brush of the hand. Something so neutral and safe that it barely registers. Or you go to the opposite extreme. You touch too much, too soon, and too randomly. You place your hand on her lower back when you barely know her name. You grab her hand without emotional build-up. You hug her at the end as if you're trying to force something to happen. In both situations, the outcome is the same. She doesn't feel anything. Not because she's cold. Not because she isn't interested, but because your touch didn't match the emotional frequency she was on. It was either invisible or intrusive. Here's the real mistake. Many men think touch is about doing something, so they either overthink it and freeze, or they treat it like a checklist and force it. But for her, touch isn't just an action, it's a conversation. And if your touch communicates "I am nervous" or "I am trying to get something from you," then it doesn't matter how attracted she was 5 minutes earlier, she'll begin to pull back. Sometimes not consciously, and sometimes not visibly, but energetically she creates distance. Once that distance forms, you're suddenly climbing uphill. So ask yourself something honestly. When was the last time you touched a woman and felt her lean into you instead of simply tolerating it? When did your touch last change her breathing, soften her posture, or hold her attention completely? If your answer is not recently or never, then pay attention. What you're about to learn isn't theory. It's the difference between being forgettable and being unforgettable. Before we get into the 7 touches, you need to understand 3 psychological triggers that make touch actually work with a mature woman. Without these, everything else becomes empty motion. The first trigger is certainty without agenda. A mature woman has spent years being touched by uncertain men who reach for her and hesitate halfway, men who touch her while watching her reaction to see if it's okay. Men whose hands feel like questions instead of statements. Every time that happens, attraction quietly drops. Not because she's judging him, but because uncertainty feels like the opposite of safety. And real safety at the nervous system level is what allows desire to appear. Here's the paradox most men miss. She doesn't need loud dominance or control. What she wants is decisiveness. She wants to feel that when you touch her, you're not searching for approval or chasing a reaction. You're simply grounded and present. That doesn't mean ignoring boundaries. It means touching her with the calm confidence of a man who already knows his worth and isn't performing for hers. Think about how you touch things you already own, like your phone or steering wheel. You don't hesitate or second guess. You simply touch them naturally. That's the energy. When she senses that certainty in your touch, something ancient in her brain relaxes. Because certainty without agenda signals a man who isn't desperate, manipulative, or pretending. The second trigger is escalation through stillness. Many men believe escalation means doing more, moving faster, going from hand to waist to shoulder to kiss, as if climbing a staircase. But a woman's body doesn't work that way. For a mature woman, escalation isn't about quantity. It's about depth. It isn't about touching more places. It's about staying in one place long enough for her to actually feel you. When you touch her and quickly move away, her nervous system never processes it. It's like hearing a song that stops after 2 seconds. But when you touch her and truly stay present, something changes. She becomes aware of you not just physically, but emotionally. And in that space, attraction builds. Stillness communicates confidence. It says you're comfortable in the moment without rushing or proving anything. The third trigger is touch that carries emotion rather than intention. A boy touches a woman because he wants something, validation, attention, or intimacy. His touch has a transaction behind it. A man touches because he genuinely feels something. Not because he's trying to create a reaction, but because the emotion is real in that moment. A mature woman has spent years with men who were mentally rehearsing their next move while touching her. What she longs for is a man who is actually present. When your touch comes from that place, she feels seen not just as a body but as a person. And that's when her defenses soften. Now, let's talk about the 7 touches. Touch number 1 is the grounded palm on her lower back. When you're walking beside her, entering a place together, or guiding her through a door, place your full palm gently on her lower back. Not just your fingertips, your whole hand. Let it stay there for a few seconds so she registers it. This touch communicates awareness and quiet protection without feeling controlling. Touch number 2 is the slow handhold with thumb movement. When you hold her hand, truly hold it. Then slowly move your thumb in small circles on the back of her hand. It creates a subtle moment of intimacy and shows attentiveness. Touch number 3 is the forehead or temple touch. When she's overwhelmed or sharing something personal, gently touch her forehead or temple for a moment. It communicates comfort and emotional presence. Touch number 4 is the anchored shoulder hold. When she's telling a story or when you're saying goodbye, rest your hand on her shoulder and hold it there calmly. Look at her while you do it. It signals that you're fully present with her. Touch number 5 is the 2-hand face hold. When the moment feels right and there's unspoken tension between you, gently cup her face with both hands and look into her eyes. Say nothing for a moment, just be present. This touch feels deeply sincere and vulnerable, which is why most men avoid it. But that vulnerability is exactly what makes it powerful. Touch number 6 is the waist pull. When you're facing each other and there's playful energy between you, place your hand on her waist and gently draw her closer, slow and deliberate. It clearly communicates interest without words. Touch number 7 is the lingering goodbye. When you hug her goodbye, hold the hug for a moment longer than usual. Let your hand rest on her back and slowly release. That small pause often leaves a stronger emotional impression than people expect. All 7 of these touches only work when they're genuine. If you're doing them like a routine or trying to force attraction, she'll sense that immediately. But when they come from real presence and authentic feeling, they become powerful. Start with the one that feels most natural to you. Practice being present during that moment and notice how she responds. Not just verbally, but through body language, breathing, and eye contact. Once you understand this language, your confidence shifts. Instead of trying to convince her with words, you communicate through presence. Remember this: a mature woman doesn't fall in love with what you do. She falls in love with who you are when she's with you, and touch is one of the ways she feels that truth. Be present, be certain, be emotionally honest, and let your touch reflect the moment you're truly in. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Please like, comment, and share if you want to keep these videos coming.